I'm Shu Pillinger, and I'm here as a member of the East Herts Green Party, continuing our Thinking Green talk series. Hopefully this is a topic you were expecting. I've been vegan for nearly 5 years now, and I thought I would explain that I'm a committed vegan who has made this lifestyle choice because I believe that it's kinder for animals, it's better for the environment, and it's good for me, good for my health. So I thought I'd share some of my vegan journey so far, and also some tips for you guys if you're interested in also trying a bit of vegan lifestyle change. So I grew up on a small holding in Cambridgeshire, and my parents grew all their own vegetables and were living the good life when they decided that they would get a cow so that they could have their own milk. This is Diamond and me. Diamond's our first cow. Diamond soon followed by Geraldine, Juno, Jodsy. We even had to move house because my parents continued to accumulate an assortment of Jersey cows. This is Shirley. Shirley was one of my favourites. She's a big, kind-hearted giant of a Jersey cow who used to sit in the field, and I would snuggle up to her and lean on her tummy when I was reading. Absolutely lovely personality, lovely animal. So my parents weren't content with just having milk from cows. My dad decided that he would try out rearing his own bull to have his own beef. This is Bijam. For those who are a little bit too young, Bijam is the name of the company before it turned into Iceland Freezer Company. My dad found it quite amusing to name the bulls various names, like I'm a Burger. The bull that lived in the pen next to I'm a Burger was called I'm a Burger's Mate. He kind of ran out of names after a while. A particular favourite was Monty and Syrup. But these poor chaps, although they grew up as pets and they were cared for as pets and loved like pets, they ended up in little freezer bags in the freezer with their name written on. I went vegetarian overnight, pretty much when I heard my mother discussing with a friend about which part of our latest pet she would like when it came back from the butcher's. Fast forward to my mid-30s, and I actually started to question my own vegetarian morals. Up until that point, even though I'd grown up around the meat industry and the dairy industry, my parents sold milk to the Milk Marketing Board, and we had our own chickens and Christmas turkeys, I never really thought vegetarian was a problem until I started to realise that actually it's not as kind for animals as people think, and it's just a way of masking a whole load of stuff that goes on in the background. And actually vegetarianism really is almost compounding some of the things that go on in the meat industry, and really, you know, it's not quite as pure as you think. So for me, I tried dabbling in veganism, and I tried about three years in a row. I tried to do the Vegan Week for National Vegan Week, and I found it incredibly difficult. And by the end of the week, I'd always ended up eating something that had milk in it. It was really difficult to eat vegan food. Something happened though. Food labeling. Food labeling changed because of people with all sorts of allergies, and suddenly becoming vegan really became quite simple because you'd pick up something suitable for vegetarians, scan through the labels of the allergens in bold, so milk, eggs, suddenly jumped out at you on a label, and I was able to pick vegan very easily. And in the 1st of August 2015, I finally went vegan, and I managed to stop finding stuff accidentally. So I'm a vegan for ethical reasons. I appreciate that other people are vegan for other reasons. So primarily environmental reasons, and I'm guessing that's probably where most of you are coming from this, coming to this from. I don't really want to try and replicate all the stuff you probably know. You probably have read this. You probably know some of this already. Why a vegan diet is better for the environment versus a meat diet. But for me, I think the biggest issue I find is just the sheer mass consumption, particularly of milk and eggs, that I find really quite disturbing, the knock-on effect of us farming animals and using animals in those sheer quantities when we don't really need to. And actually it'd be better to just bypass eating that animal, using that animal, just to get straight to the plant protein that they're eating in the first place. I think Lucy introduced on the email that I have another side to this. So I am an athlete, I'm an ultra cyclist. So I cycle distances that people normally cover in a plane for fun. I was astounded that going from being vegetarian for so long, so since the age of 12, that over the course of 3 months, I noticed so much change, and I'm very tuned into my health and fitness from my training, that it was not explainable by anything other than my diet change. So I was getting more energy. You know, I could run a marathon one day and the next day I could still run. You know, less inflammation. It's known that milk is inflammatory. Less aches and pains, less injury, less illness. I haven't had a cold for years, and certainly not being vegan. And it's proven over all of those activities I do. There's no scientific basis to this. This is just my gut feeling from my exercise. If you want to find out a bit more about this, I would recommend the film Game Changers, which came out recently, which covers a number of athletes and sports people who experiment with a vegan diet. I'm guessing that most of you are probably vegan curious already, the fact that you've given up 30 minutes on a Wednesday evening to find out about it. So I thought, well, what can I do to help maybe show you some easy things that you can do to swap out maybe a few things from either a meat diet or a vegetarian diet to make a few steps towards veganism. A lot of people struggle with the lack of flavor, or what am I going to eat? And actually, once you start experimenting, you'll really realize that it really is there's just as much opportunity for great food as there is in any other diet. So I thought I'd go through some quick things. So dairy, obviously a key one. I always recommend this butter, the organic vegan block. It's quite hard to come by. Sainsbury's and Harlow have it. If the shelf is empty, that's because I've cleared the shelf and put it in my freezer. Sorry. It's great, and you can freeze it. Milk, a really obvious one. Just experiment with the different non-dairy milks. So I like oat milk on cereal. I tend to have soya or almond milk or coconut milk in coffee. I don't like milk in tea. I haven't drunk milk in tea for decades. I have lemon in tea. Cheese, everybody complains, what am I going to have for cheese? And everybody loves halloumi. Halloumi was the last thing I gave up when I went vegan. Greek cheese, Violife White Block is amazing, great as a feta substitute. Blue cheese, I honestly thought I would never see blue cheese again as a vegan. And a week ago, I discovered a company, Honestly Tasty, who make a vegan blue cheese, and they make a fake camembert. Camembert, they call it. They are amazing. So that is my new vice. They're quite expensive, but I'm trying to work out how I can make it myself. Oatly creme fraiche is amazing, great on chilies, or on a sauce, on a pasta dish or something like that. Alpro make great custard and yogurts. The one down here, the Alpro protein yogurt, is really good. As an athlete, I'm always trying to get up to 100 grams of protein a day, and that's a really good source as a breakfast. And then the bit you're all waiting for. I thought, what can I do that's quick and easy to show you something that's vegan, that doesn't involve cooking, that can't possibly go wrong, which it now will do. And I thought what I'd try and show you is a quick vegan mayonnaise. I want to prove the point, you don't need eggs in stuff. Likewise, cake, you don't need eggs in cake. There's plenty of vegan options. But this mayo, we're going to see how this goes. If this goes wrong, then I apologise now. What I have got is I've got a little bench. So you're at the right height. Okay, this is where I find that I'm not Jamie Oliver. So I have half a cup of oil. So this is a mixture, because obviously putting that much olive oil in would be quite expensive. So it's a mixture of olive and rapeseed oil. It's also got a bit of garlic oil in there, because I like garlic mayo to dip potato wedges in, which is what I'm going to have for dinner after this. To that, I'm going to add some unsweetened soy milk. And this is just 1/4 cup. And if I add that, and you see it starts to separate into 2 layers. And to that, I add just a little bit of salt. And you can play around with the taste of this to what works for you. A little bit of mustard, so just a little dash on the spoon. Stir that in. A bit of white wine vinegar. And this is just the last drop in the bottle. So just a teaspoon of that. And then you tend to want something just a little bit sweeter as well. So I put in a bit of agave nectar, which is what I use as sweetener, not the sweeteners with milk in. Just put a dip of that in. Now this is the magic bit. So the idea of mayonnaise is you need to emulsify those fats. So you've got the fats in the oil and the fats in the milk. And you need one of these. This is the best thing as a vegetarian, making all sorts of nut butters, cream sauces, soups, whatever you want. And if this works, magic, literally, it literally emulsifies straight away. You can't do it in a blender because it doesn't work. But if you do it with one of these handheld ones, it does work. And I'll just show you what it's turned into. It's really quite thick. Perfect as mayo. Great for your salad, great for potato wedges. And it didn't splash all over my computer, which is even better. Wow, I did a live demo. This is cool. Okay, so other things, protein. Everybody always asks about protein. I pretty much live on McCartney sausages. Fake bacon's good as well, if you're a fan of bacon. But watch out, because loads of these things are highly processed. So try and go for sort of purer sources. So your tofus, tempeh, seitan, beans and everything. Pretty much live on those. Seitan I'm going to cover a little bit in a minute. So if you don't know what it is, don't worry. Pasta, watch out, because pasta's got egg in it if it's fresh pasta. So you'll be looking for, this one I use is an edamame bean pasta, which is pretty high in protein as well. And sweets. I use Colin caterpillars in all my training from Marks and Spencer's. They're vegan and they're just addictive, and I use them instead of energy gels. What else have I got? So that's all very well. So a few easy things to try, but these are things to watch out for. Okay, so in terms of food, watch out for people thinking that gluten-free is vegan. You go into a restaurant and say something vegan, they'll go, oh yeah, it's gluten-free. Totally different things. Catering staff don't seem to know this. It's because restaurants try to cut corners by having one option on the menu that covers all the dietary requirements. So you end up having gluten-free as your option. Don't fall for it unless you're actually celiac, because gluten-free buns on a vegan burger are horrible. Wine and beer, watch out, because how they're filtered. So wine has isinglass. Some wines have milk and egg in them, and they sometimes say on the label. I stick to vegan approved wines and beers. In terms of beer, it's normally craft beer, craft ale that's isn't fined or filtered. Honey, it's not vegan, sorry. The bees like honey, we don't need it. Chocolate, go over 70% and you should be fine. There's loads of fake chocolates around now. Some of them are a bit meh, but some are good. Food colorings, I always look at if it says something's you think it might be vegetarian, but and it's not saying it is, look for E120, which is cochineal, the red colouring. Lactic acid, a funny one. It's not always from milk, even though you think it would be with the name lactic acid. You can get plant-based lactic acid, so just look out for those. I don't know why naan bread has to be made with yogurt. You can make your own without yogurt. But if you go out for a curry, ask them. Most curry houses are really good at dealing with vegetarians and vegans because a lot of Indians don't eat milk. So just ask and you'll find you have to have chapatis rather than naan bread. Whey protein, again, milk. Sweeteners, I bought these sweeteners that had milk in them. No idea why, but I had to give them away. My only one mistake I made, I bought this katsu curry paste that I thought was vegetarian and vegan. Made it up, it was fantastic. I checked all the labels, no bold allergens, then discovered afterwards it had chicken stock in it. That's my one mistake in the number of years. And recently toothpaste, I put it under the edible section because obviously you might swallow it, but Colgate and stuff is not vegan. They do have a new vegan toothpaste out, but it costs about double the amount of normal toothpaste. Tesco's do their own brand one for about 99p, and that's vegan. So other stuff, if you're getting serious about trying veganism, these are the things to bear in mind. Look out for testing on animals. So the girls mentioned Lush last week with all the cosmetics and the beauty products. They're not tested on animals and they have quite a strict vegan policy. Leather, I ditched leather a long time ago. It's just grim. I'm not sure why anybody would want to wear leather. I don't have any leather shoes. Wool is a bit of a funny one. I'm not sure. Try to avoid it, but it's if you go to a farm where they have sheep that are sheared because they're just pets and they're just selling the wool, then fine. But if they're part of the meat industry, difficult one. Lanolin is actually in wool. Pet hate of mine, down jackets. Can't stand the idea of feathers being in a down jacket. And one I recently discovered, electricity supply. Ecotricity are the only UK vegan supplier. I don't know what's non-vegan about the others, apart from I saw something about chicken manure used in some process, which is a bit odd, but I have recently changed to Ecotricity. One thing you can watch out for there is the vegan symbol. It's becoming more apparent when you find it. How to avoid being that person who turns up to things, who has all of the food intolerances and dietary requirements. Easy at home. We cook a lot of vegetables and we pile our plates with vegetables. My other half is not vegan. He's a flexi pescatarian. He eats cheese, egg, milk and fish, but not meat. So we tend to have most of the same accompaniments, and then we put our own protein on. So he'll tend to have fish and I tend to have one of the other options. Friends' houses, friends tend to be quite open with you and tell you to just bring your own dinner, bring your own dish. Barbecue, I always take my own disposable barbecue because I don't like how people cook things next to each other. But you can appease people with shocking them with amazing vegan desserts or vegan salads or sides or something, and then they go, well, this can't be vegan. The vegan cheese board, I'm now going to do the blue cheese and camembert, and they won't believe me, it's vegan. Restaurants getting much better. Loads of places have vegan menus and vegan options. If you're going somewhere really posh with a group of people, try and phone ahead, because they like it when you give them some warning, and you also end up with something really cool that the chef has decided to make because they want to try something off the menu. But generally, whilst people are choosing, I've already scanned the menu quite quickly, and I'll just pull a waitress aside and say, does this have egg in it, or does this have milk in it? And they normally go and check, because of all of the rules about allergies. They now have to be really careful. So If you're in any problems, you could say you're allergic to milk, but try and encourage them to understand what veganism means. So I thought I'd put some quick next ideas for you, and then we'll go to your questions. So this is my top tips for if you want to have a gentle introduction. I would try and give up honey, easy to do. You can try meat-free Monday if you're a meat eater at the moment, or if you're vegan, go vegan Monday. Have a look at Bosch online. They do really cool vegan meals, and they do them a lot slicker than my mayo demo. Instagram, follow Plant Powered Rachel. A bit of a disclosure here. This is my other half sister. She's a vegan mother of 4, and she brings up her kids as vegan, and she posts incredible dishes pretty much every meal. And they're simple, they're easy, they're cheap. She has tips for buying in bulk for the week of what you're going to cook. Really good to follow. And I mentioned Game Changers. This is an okay film to watch. There's nothing particularly gruesome in Game Changers. However, if you want the hard-hitting stuff, try giving up cheese. It's quite tricky for those who love cheese. You can try Veganuary. People have probably heard of this. In January, you try, I put 3 days. Oh dear, I've lost a 1. That's supposed to be 31 days. 3 days would be far too easy. You can have a go at making your own seitan, which is this protein made from gluten. So you mix it up into a dough, and then you steam it. If you're in London, go to Temple of Seitan, which is the ultimate fast food vegan restaurant where they make seitan burgers and seitan chicken wings. It's my favourite place in London. If you want all the horror stories and you want to really be convinced, then PETA is the place to go for the side that you probably don't want to know about. Likewise, Cowspiracy. I haven't watched it. I don't have any intention of watching it, but the brave of you might want to. Okay, cool. So, see what questions you've got. I'm going to stop sharing this and see if I can see your question panel, or you can. We've got some questions in here. So easy. You're going to try the mayo. Brilliant. You have to let me know how it goes. Yeah, it is really simple, and you just don't need eggs. I've got a friend who wanted me to do something else tonight, and I said, sorry, I'm doing a demo of vegan mayo. She goes, I need to know how you do that. So I'm going to do it again later for a friend. Cheddar cheese. Check out Honestly Tasty. They've got a posh cheddar on there. There is another company that a friend of mine told me about the other day. I'll try and put it on Facebook, then you can see what it was called. But generally, Violife are quite good. Tesco's vegan mozzarella is really good for pizza. We have a pizza oven here, and it actually melts properly. It's really good. Do some vegans think that honey is okay? Some people think honey is okay for a vegan diet. Vegans don't think honey is okay. Does that answer that? It's not vegan, but there are some people who think that honey is okay. I wouldn't say they were vegan, but that's cool. How long is an easy transition period into veganism? Well, I would try a week. I mean, see how you get on with a week, because you'll see. I mean, you'll trip up. You'll buy something that's got milk in. You'll get something that's got egg in it. But if you eat that anyway, you'll be fine. My transition. So first things I gave up were so whilst being vegetarian, I gave up leather a long time ago. I gave up eggs a long time ago, except if they were hidden and mixed in stuff like cake and pasta. I didn't eat omelette or fried egg or poached egg, partly because I'm quite squeamish about what eggs are. I don't agree with battery farming, but free range eggs, if there's a cockerel with the chickens eggs are more likely to be fertilized. My mum has chickens. We get the eggs here from my other half. Her chickens are now sitting on those eggs, so they are fertilized. So she knows that. I would have a problem if I thought I'd picked up an egg a week before that and it was fertilized. So I gave up eggs a long time ago. through squeamishness. I then transitioned a lot of milk. I got rid of milk. Found that easy to do because I just love, I love coffee with almond milk or coffee with soya. Don't have any problem doing that. So easy to do in a coffee shop now. And then probably cheese was the hardest thing for me to do. But actually it's the one I don't even think about cheese now. Apart from that blue cheese I've just found, which is amazing. How long does it take to become fully vegan? So it's, yeah, so when I tried it, probably about 2012, dabbling, trying, so maybe 3 years to be fully. But now I just find it so easy, it's just natural, second nature. Biggest protein sources. Probably tofu for me and beans. Basically I do a lot of chilies, vegetable curries, always try and put a tofu in there as well, or a soya mince, or get soya pieces, soya chunks. There are loads and loads of good proteins out there in the supermarkets at the moment, but just watch for how processed they are, because everybody's jumping on a bandwagon of selling you a £4.50 packet of soya mince when actually you could just get a can of beans for 50p and it's probably better for you. How do you feel about those who are vegan, but if fish or meat is going to be thrown away, then they will eat it? I'd rather not have the animal wasted. I mean, my background on the farm, obviously my family eat meat. My dad's argument was always, he would rather see how the animal lived. He'd feed it, he'd nurture it, and then he'd see how it was killed humanely, and then he'd be prepared to eat it. What I have a problem with is people who don't want to know what the process is, and they don't want to be exposed to any of the nasty stuff. They don't want to eat stuff because it's got eyes, or it's a pet rabbit, or it's they can see the head on a fish in Tesco's, or they need to have it wrapped in cling film for it to be not associated with the animal. So that I have a problem with. But if somebody was prepared to actually look after that animal and kill it, I have no problem in somebody making that decision. I know I can't, but for instance, my other half, he fishes, so he has no problem with fish. He chooses not to eat meat because of the hormones they pump into it. So from a health point of view, not because he wouldn't be prepared to kill an animal. So I think people have different views. I'd rather it not be thrown away, obviously. Like I said, the main thing for me is just the over exploitation. An example, I went into Nando's for a work lunch, which was horrible for me. And I sort of got salad, and I said to the lady, I said, so many dead chickens in here, so many dead chickens. I'm like, how do you know they were happy? And she goes, don't worry, they were frozen. Has utterly no idea about chicken cruelty or how chickens live. She just thought because they were frozen, it's fine. Different world. Do you feel overall it's been more or less expensive? You can get expensive vegan treats. Like I said, there are a lot of people playing to a market, but it should be cheaper. If you're prepared to cook everything from scratch, grow your own vegetables, prep your own meals, buy cheap beans and pulses and grains in bulk, easily cheaper. Cool. I think that's my questions there. Does anybody have any other questions that they want to say out loud? You can stick your hand up and you can. Tom's still walking home. He's done really well. We've seen all of London in the train. Any other questions from anybody? They're all looking good. Is everybody going to have vegan for dinner tonight?
Hi, Sue. I actually am having vegan.
Brilliant. And then he cut out the crucial moment, but we heard he's having vegan.
Shu, there's a question about Ecova on the group chat.
Yes. I don't know. Don't know. I found a different product that's vegan, and I found a really good vegan disinfectant the other day, which smells really nice. So I'm using that. But yeah, I do try and find products that are marked as vegan. I don't know specifically about Ecova.
Shu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I didn't realise I had to unmute because I'm used to going into ones where it's all... Anyway, I'm vegan anyway.
Good. Did all of that make sense?
Yes, of course, but obviously people do things different, you know. I mean, when I first got on the Green Party WhatsApp, everybody was talking about vegetarian recipes. I foolishly thought they were trying to go vegetarian. So I started waffling on about how I became vegetarian. After that, they clammed up and nobody answered me at all. And I thought, oh, this isn't much fun, because I did it in a slightly different way. I mean, I'm 78 now. I did this in my 40s. And I did it initially. Sorry?
Health benefits of veganism.
Yes, oh, like you, yes, I agree with you 100%. I became totally more healthy. I didn't have colds. I've got loads of energy. I've got nothing wrong with me at all. There's nothing matter with me. I'm not one of these people who's got to self-isolate because I've got underlying health problems. I can walk the shoes off anybody, etc., etc. But I kind of did it. First of all, I did it very slowly by stage. First of all, I gave up red meat. Then I gave up white meat, and that, but all the time I was reading up and making sure I was getting my amino acids. And so then I was eating oily fish, and then gradually, I eliminated things over a long period of time.
I think I think that is a common approach, actually, that people do one thing at a time. I mean, for me, I'm kind of a more all or nothing. I just decide if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. It's like giving up alcohol. It's just, you just decide I'm now teetotal, for instance. For me, I think people will adapt their own styles, and I hope everybody here takes something from that you can make a difference by just swapping out one thing. Yes. Or you could make a big change, and every little helps. And
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, now I just believe it's important, whatever your diet, you eat close to nature, because we're destroying the environment.
I think we're going to have a talk on gardening during the series, aren't we? We've got 2 minutes before this runs out, so I'm just going to quickly wrap up and say thank you very much for attending, everybody. If you've got any other questions, let us know. If you're interested, next week's talk is going to be on heat pumps, which I'm really interested in because we're thinking about putting one in. So join us for that, and I'm sure that'll be very interesting from Nick. I'll probably say goodbye then from me and from the Green Party, and enjoy your vegan dinners.